One of the pre-work modules that we completed in the school for this September weekend was a seminar that was conducted by a coach named Jamie Smart and a psychologist named Dr. Keith Blevins. This seminar arose out of the three principles understanding. When I started to think about how I would explain this seminar, I went right down the rabbit hole because my stumbling across the three principles was a game changer in my life. For me to just share what I heard in this webinar without giving the backstory on what the three principles means to me really will be, I feel like, a disservice, because what's being said in this webinar isn't meant to be intellectually thought about. It's meant to be an understanding, an embodiment. A man by the name of Sydney Banks, a Scottish welder that moved to Salt Spring Islands, is the founder of the three principles. He passed away about a decade ago. And in the 70s, Sid Banks had an enlightenment experience. And reality for him, as he knew it, shifted forever. Over a period of time, what came out of it was an understanding that's called the three principles: universal mind, universal consciousness, and universal thought. This was something for me that until I had an experience of it, I tried to piece together intellectually and was missing it. I wasn't seeing it. I wasn't sensing it. When I think about being an Indigenous man, I also relate this to receiving linear teachings, like the linear teachings that my ancestors received before residential school. You hear a story, a transmission comes in, and you sit in understanding. The three principles worked that way for me. The first principle of mind points to the oneness of life, the energy that runs through everything like a river. Universal consciousness is like the blue sky that the birds fly through. Consciousness is the sky, being fully conscious and aware of the unchanging truth that resides within. Universal thought is where we take something out of the formless before it's an idea and we make it manifest. In Sid Banks' words, it's a magical paintbrush and it's a spiritual energy. Now here's the backstory on how I came across the three principles. I was at a success conference when I met Ankush Jain. We connected instantly, and he invited me to join his Facebook group, the Powerful Men's Group, Aspiring for Excellence. He also shared with me about his men's immersion that he runs here in the UK. And in talking to him, it was something that was made available to me. There were only 12 men that were going to be there. They're all from different parts of the world. And it would be an opportunity for us to sit together over a 4-day period. At that time, it was 4 days. It's actually extended into a 7-day immersion. We sat together in the understanding of the three principles. And before I went to this immersion, I had no idea what that meant. And in fact, there was a moment during the men's immersion when I was asked to come up and sit at the front of the room in a chair in front of the 11 other men and Ankush. And he asked me why I wanted to come to the immersion. I thought about it for a bit, and what came out of me was this. The reason that I want to come to the men's immersion is because I want to find out what successful people talk about in rooms like this, and then I want to take that back to my home and share it with people. Now, this is where the principles get really interesting. I didn't know what I said at the time, but in that moment, what I came to see was that the reason I was there was for something outside of myself. I wanted to go to the men's immersion to find out what successful people talk about in a room, so I can take that thing that's outside of myself back home and share it with people. What unfolded the next 3 days was an understanding that I really didn't realize was taking place. There was another thing that did happen though. I couldn't see it as it was happening, but I had become very silent and I had gone within.